We're out here in the shop once again. Today we're going to look at one of these old 3D printers. I've had these printers for more than 10 years. I bet you've got a few old printers laying around, or you see one out on Marketplace. It's only like 20, 30 bucks, and you think you could take it home and get it fixed. Today we're going to review the basics of how a printer works and how to get it up and running again. So without further ado, let's start turning wrenches and see if we can get this fixed. Today we're looking at an older Creality CR10. I've had this machine for at least 10 years and it has made hundreds of prints. So to get started, the power switch is on the back. Your printer may be different. Just get it turned on, let it power up and self-test, and then let's bring the filament up to temperature. Heating up, I want to give myself some room. Prepare, move axis. Let's go to 1 millimeter, raise the Z. Let's get it high enough that we can get our wrenches underneath. I have a few printers. So I have this box of essentials that I carry around. I got a ratchet, short extension with a socket that fits the nozzle, the little trimmer, cable, spool, whatever, trimmer, and Allen wrenches. When it comes to your tools, you can use ones that come with your printer. I just use whatever's at hand, whatever works. Now the nozzle tip is hot right now. And the last time we used it, it was clogged. Here's what we're looking at in here. It's a little dusty, a little grimy. We're going to get this cleaned up and back in perfect operating condition. Because we're cleaning the entire filament path, let's pull this old filament back. Oh boy, it is clogged up. Normally this pulls right back out. I don't know if you can see that. This bulge on the tip is usually about the size of a clump of rice. This is kind of big, so we've been building up. Look at this chewed up mess right here. See if I can hold that better. That's not good either. This was up at the filament pusher. We're going to look at that and fix that too. Cut that back a little ways. I'm using a filament sensor. We'll load it past that. Not going to go in very far at this point. What we want to do is just have it in there so it's out of the way. We're going to disassemble this and clean it, put it back together. I'm going to hold the heater block so it doesn't turn on me. my socket. I just want to loosen it. The way this goes together, you've got the heater, and it comes down through to the nozzle, and the nozzle, when it's all tightened together, holds everything in place. Look at how bad that is. Tip, got some scorch marks on it. Goodbye, good and faithful servant. Down into the trash. Most of the work I do is with the 04 millimeter. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's what it says. We'll have this ready to go in. Next thing we want to do is trim the end of this tube. I don't know if you can see that. The end of that has got a bunch of debris in it. What happens over time, as this is hot, it breaks down, turns into kind of a goo, and then that goo gets into your nozzle and clogs everything up. To clean that, I keep an old tube that's too short, and I will shove it through and take out that goop. See that gray blob on the end? That's what was fouling up our prints. Let's get that out of there. Yeah, sticky. Cut that off and shove it through again. May do this 2 or 3 times just to get all the debris out of there. Some guys will use a little wire brush like you'd use for cleaning a 22 pistol. That works too. All right, that's nice and clean. Remember, the end of this was messed up. You want to make sure it's long enough for the full travel of the print head. We're going to trim this back. Okay. On your clipper, you want to make sure that your tube sits completely flush in the bottom of that. Nice and flat. I'll pull this up. And cut that off completely square. What happens is when it goes through the end of the heater, it butts up against the nozzle. I'm not very good at showing this, but there, that seat has to be completely flush. Otherwise, you're going to have filament leaks. Okay, we've cleaned the path, we've trimmed the tube. Let's get it started. I'm going to go all the way down and then back a half a turn, and that'll make sense in just a minute. Getting the nozzle ready. Try and fish that up through there. Get it started by hand. Okay, get our wrench. Hold the heater block with our pliers. We want that snug and not twist everything that's on there. Now let's seat our tube. It's down nice and tight. Remember we left this loose? Now we're going to put it that last little half a turn, 3/4 turn. Keep that from moving. Make sure it's nice and tight. Put the retaining clip back in place. Clean up our tools. Let's push some filament through. Ooh, I like that. We use a control box to run some filament through. Prepare, move axis, 1 millimeter extruder. Let's give it a little bit of gap. Letting the motor push the filament through. Make sure everything's running nice and smooth. I'm happy with that. Let's put the cover back on. Okay, line that up. Get that started, but not too tight. The other one in. Snug that down, snug the other one down. All right, on to the next step. This bed is pretty messed up. It's been used and abused. I'm just going to clean it with a little bit of generic glass cleaner. It's got some ammonia to help break down the debris and crud that's on there. Gives you that nice smell of a freshly filled litter pan. Cat owners would know that smell. With our filament path clear, we've replaced the nozzle, we've cleaned the heater block, we put the fan back on, we did a little test with our extruder to make sure that we're getting good flow. The next most important thing, probably the most important thing of all your prints, is let's level this to make sure that filament goes down correctly. This machine was before all the fancy auto leveling. I'm going to do it old school way. Prepare, auto home. These tools back in here for next time. Disable the steppers. Now we can move this freely around. What we're going to do is we're going to level this brute force, old school style. Piece of paper. Slide it under. There's no drag, so I'm going to raise the bed just 1/8 of a turn or so. That's getting better. Let's try another corner. Yeah, that's about the same, isn't it? Okay. Oh, that's about right. This one could come up some. So what happened? I raised this. This one's going to go down because they're mounted on springs. It's a giant teeter-totter. So we want to check again. That's a little tight, but I like it. Same there. Same there. Let's double check this one. That might be a little loose. There, that's better. And that is the old school brute force limited. This glass originally had a texture on it which would allow you to print without having to have adhesives. Have this, the world champion choice of bed adhesion materials. It's old Aquanet from the 1950s and 60s. It's still available in some places. If you can't find any, I might be able to spare you some in my stash. Cover up your fan because this will clog it up. Just a mist. Okay, let that set in for a second. Are you ready? Let's test it. Oh, no card. All right, let's test it. Even though we did have it just warmed up, it's going to take a minute to warm up one more time. What we're going to print is just a test that should only take, a couple hours. Filament's warm. I use a Cura slicer, so it's going to do this little test strip over here. Make sure the nozzle's clear, gets the filament flowing. Let's see how we did on leveling. First pass is looking good. What I'll do sometimes, just to make sure, is I'll rub my finger on it. Because if it's not adhered, it's going to peel right off. But like I said, this will take about a day. I hope you had fun. Not very entertaining, but at least we were able to get in there, get this printer going. If you got a cheap one at a yard sale and you're not sure, follow these steps. Go through, pause the video, try it, and see if you can get your old printer up and going. May not be a good idea, but at least we got it to work. See you on the next one. Hey, you're still here? Don't you got an old printer to fix?